During this cold weather, there's one of my favorite recipes that I'm going to make today, and it is a chicken pie. I've started here in my bowl with 1/3 cup of chilled butter, and I've cut it into very small, thin little pieces. And to that, I'm going to add 1½ cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to mix this up. This is for the crust. And I can tell you, you can use anything you want, a fork, you can use the regular pastry mixers, but I've found that for this, it's just easier to use your fingers. My grandma did it. That's just the way she made her pie crust, and I'm going to do the same. And as you can see, those are pretty fine. I've broke that up to fine little pieces. And to that, I'm going to now add 1 whole egg. And I'm not even going to beat that up first. And I'm going to start out with 3 tablespoonfuls of cold water. And get those hands right back in there. Okay. Let me tell you, this is really sticky. You can see it on my fingers, but never fear, it'll all come off. And we want all of that in there as we can. It's beginning to make a ball, and you can you've got all of your flour out of your bowl. You can see there's no dry flour. And we're just going to kind of pat that into a ball, and it feels just like modeling clay. Pat that down good. You've got a nice smooth ball. Be sure you pat it down good, because when we roll this out, we don't want any air pockets in there. Okay. Now then, I'm going to put some saran wrap over that, put it in the refrigerator, and let it chill for 1 hour. And during that time, we're going to begin making our chicken. Okay, in my skillet over here, and you'll need a good-sized skillet for this, I have 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, and I'm going to melt that down. And to that, I'm going to add 1 full 8-ounce package of mushrooms. And these were already cut up. Some of them look like they're kind of big. Don't worry, they will cook down. And I'm also going to add 1/4 cup of chopped onion. And we're going to let this cook until it becomes kind of tender. Okay, while my mushrooms and onions are cooking, I'm going to cut up my chicken. Now, I have here 3 boneless chicken thighs, and I've put them in the crock pot this morning early, and they've cooked about 3 hours to where that they're nice and tender. And I'm just going to cut those up into a little smaller than what you'd consider a bite size. Shred it just a little bit. As you can see, our mushrooms have cooked down just a little bit, and the onion has now become translucent. Some of these, I wanted to let you know, I use portobello mushrooms for mine. Now, if all you can find are the little white button mushrooms, that's fine. You can use them. It's just portobello has a lot more flavor to those. And to that, I'm going to add, I have 1 cup of chicken broth, and I'm going to add about 1/4 of that. And just let that cook for just a little while. And to that, I'm going to add I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. And I know that's a strange thing that you think to be adding, but it gives it just a little bit more flavor. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. and 1 full teaspoon of salt. Mix that around just a little bit. And I'm now going to add 1 full package of frozen peas and carrots. This is a 12 ounce of peas and carrots. We're going to stir those in. Let that cook just slowly for just a few minutes. I have about 3/4 cup of the chicken broth left over, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoonfuls of plain flour. And if it gets just a little over, that's okay. Going to mix that up. It's always easier to mix it while your liquid is still cold. Keep that in mind. And then we're going to add that to our vegetable mixture over here. And we're going to cook that on a medium heat until it begins to thicken up. You can see that the sauce is beginning to thicken up and it's kind of like a nice thick gravy. To that we're going to add 1.5 cups of whipping cream. Talk about rich. And we're also going to add our chicken. Now those 3 pieces of large chicken thighs ended up being about 4 cups of chicken. We're going to mix that together and then just wait for it to all begin to thicken up again. Okay, while our chicken is cooking, our chicken and vegetables, we got our dough out of the refrigerator, and we're going to just kind of pat that down. You don't want to add a lot of flour to that, but you definitely want enough to where it's not going to stick, and we're going to roll it out just like you would a pie crust. Now we're putting this in a 13 by 9 pie pan, or a cake pan rather. So to do that, I'm going to have to roll it in sort of a triangle. It looks like our mixture has thickened up. I've turned the heat off, and I'm going to pour that carefully into my pan. Spread that out just a little bit, make it even. And I'm going to take my pie crust here that I have, roll it up onto my roller. Roll it out across the top of my plate there. And then I'm going to take it and push it down to where that it's setting against the vegetables and meat in there. Okay, I have that pushed down in there. And then I'm going to take a sharp knife, and I'm going to begin cutting away the extra dough all the way around on the inside of my. Now you can have it more if you want and have it up on to the top, but I'm going to cut it down just on the inside. I actually have a little rim there on the inside of my pan that I'm going by, even though once in a while I get off of that. And because it's Christmas time, I'm going to get my dough there, roll it out again, and we're going to roll it so that it's pretty thin. That's just some extra dough that we had left over. And I'm going to take this snowflake cookie cutter, and I'm going to cut snowflakes in it. That didn't quite come loose. And I'm just going to lay those on top. And as long as you've got dough, you can cut out however many you want. I'm just going to do 2. And kind of overlap them to where that they're there on this. Now I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to put holes in my pie on the top around those so that it will cook evenly in the oven. I've set my oven to 400 degrees, and whenever I get my holes in here, we're going to put it in the oven. And I like making a little pattern just because I like messing with stuff. I'm going to take 1 egg that I have beaten, and I'm just going to dab that on the top. You don't want it soppy, but you want all of it covered, including your little snowflakes. This will help it to brown, and it will get a little crispy on top. Get your edges. And we're going to bake this for 30 to 35 minutes. It has been 30 minutes. And we're going to take that out, check it and see. Ooh, it's got a nice little brown look on it. We're going to let this cool for about 5 minutes before we dig in. Hope you like and subscribe. Thank you.